Okay. Hi, this is another Crazy Carl project. I'm hammering myself today because everyone else went to town. And I'm working on the lawnmower. So, a little detail about this is a late 80s, early 90s Yazoo rear engine. And it had the Tecumseh gear drive in it, short axle, which stripped the worm gears out. Not been able to get new worm gears, so I managed to get a John Deere long axle transaxle that matched up the bolts on the old Tecumseh. So, but when I was removing it, and probably what stripped out the tooth gears, the worm gears, was this mounting bracket was broken. So now I've got to degrease those parts, and I'm going to JB weld them because I don't have welding equipment. And I'm using a thick concentration of Simple Green for the degreaser. Neither one of those are sponsors. And I'm going to be setting up and working, but you can kind of see, if I can see, I don't know what I'm looking at, but in there is where that's going. And I've got to clean all that too. So it's mostly just going to be a lot of cleaning, so there's probably not going to be much filming to start with. It'll mostly just be getting it cleaned up and then getting it JB welded with a couple of L brackets added, which reminds me, somewhere in this mess, somewhere in that mess right there, there's L brackets for this project that I bought 6 years ago, and then couldn't find a transaxle. No, longer than that. See, the transaxle stripped in 14, 15. So yeah, it would have been in 15 I started working on this thing and found out I could not find a transaxle. And it sat. And it sat. I decided this year I'm going to get it fixed. Either use it, fix it, or just sell it for scrap. Well, not sell it for scrap. I'll sell it to somebody. There's people that still desire this layout for, well, I guess they still do racing mowers, some, but probably more for, I don't know. I'm not into the lawnmower collection crowd. I bought this because it was a good size for my yard, and I liked it. And I could afford it. So, yeah, that's going to be this project. Alright, well, I've got it sanded, as you can see. Cleaned up real well. Just used 120 grit sandpaper on this and there. I am going to probably drill a hole for a bracket there and in the side of this because, yeah, it needs more than just JB weld. It would need more than just welded, probably. I am using rubbing alcohol to finish the cleanup on them after degreasing, sanding, dry cleaning, well, dry wiping, everything else. But you can see, maybe you can see if I can get where I can actually get my arm low enough where I've been shooting on that, and it's all sanded, and I even got it up so I can put a little daub up there of the JB weld, because I don't intend this bracket to come back off. So next step is just to spray it and wipe it down with the alcohol, and then find the L bracket and drill holes, and then bolt it on, JB weld it, tighten it up, let it sit. So that's the next step. Alright, modified L bracket, drilled it out using a titanium bit and a couple of vice grips to get it so that I can make the bolt to it and I can secure it there. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Probably use this one as a template for that side though. Don't know. But I just do the same thing again and clamp another one there. But that's going to make it so that the receiver bolts for the transmission will go in there. And I'll just remove a washer that was on top. And that should make it so it still clears. I'm probably going to end up having to get a longer bolt anyways, because I think the transmission is a little deeper. But we'll see. I will try to do what I can. But that's the best solution I've come up with. And I will drill a hole in the side of the lawnmower for a bolt. It'll just disappear like those bolts. And hopefully that'll get this so it stays up. Fun times. Fun times. Electric drill bit. Alright. I've got the two brackets attached for the bolt temporarily up here. The part that was still somewhat a tab, I've used paralock joints. I'm going to drill holes in that heavy double bracket. I marked them. Really, there's no good way to stabilize it, so I'm going to tighten up those brackets and then use them as a guide. And just use a drill bit and the electric drill for it, if it'll focus on it. So I just matched them up with the holes in the L brackets. And like I said, this is going to be used in combination with JB Weld, because I don't know if these brackets would be actually strong enough. They're pretty flexible, so I think they would bend without the addition. And once I get it all done, I'm going to clean it all up with alcohol again to make sure I get any greases off that it come from me and any dust. I've used a metal file to smooth the holes on the brackets, and I'll probably end up having to do the same in here. So, I go to drilling. Alright, after a lot of drilling, I've got mounting holes all the way through. So, that's fun. All the metal shavings. But that should stabilize it. I gotta clean it, mix up the JB Weld, and then put it all together and let it sit. Which is going to be real fun, because I realized something. I stuck the transaxle for the old one away, thinking that I had taken all the parts I needed off of it to make the new one match. And then realized I forgot the linkage for the shifter. This one has a right-hand side one. The point's in the same spot, but this one has a short center bracket that I'm going to put on it. So I have to dig it out from back behind all that stuff. So that's going to be fun. So that's a whole nother thing. But I can hook that up otherwise and see if it's even going to work. And I might be able to even rig something so I can use a different thing to shift it until I get that set up. Just so I can take this down off the blocks and move it. Alright. But we'll see. Okay, I'm going to try to set this up. I'm setting this up right now so I can loose it in. And then I'll start doing the brackets afterwards. So let's see if I can get where you can see something from what I'm doing. Okay, you might be able to see a little bit. If I don't block it. Let me work from this side. I have cleaned everything again with alcohol. Right now, I'm putting these on loose, and I've got washers to go on after, but these are just loose frame it for JB Weld so I can get it all in there. And there'll probably be a good bit to get out of this if I can keep it, because I've got to mix the JB Weld real quick. I'm trying not to JB Weld the bolts in, so. Take that nut off, because if I don't, that's going to end up being JB welded in there.
Tonight, under starlit skies, tell me that you trust in me. How far can we go? Living like Bonnie and Clyde, watch our worlds collide. Live so fast and die so young. What have we become? And it seems unfair. The only thing that we have is each other, and I just don't care.
Now, I just let that set up. I think I'm going to back that one out altogether.
It's yours and mine now, and it seems unfair. The only thing that we have is each other, and I just don't care. The world is yours and mine now.
That's it. I was worried I'd have to do that with that on this side, but it should still work. It's a little off, but it's probably close enough, and that hole's going to be in the same spot, so it'll work. I can make it work. Not perfect, but it's good enough. So now I just gotta let it cure. Okay, it's a couple days later, and JB Weld has set up. So this is well mounted, and the brackets are gonna be there. So it'll be bolted and JB welded. That way it's got more security, and that's going to be it on this project for a little bit because of well, like everything else. But I also have digital lights in here. Alexa, lights on. I managed to get Bluetooth web net mesh, that's the word I'm looking for, Bluetooth mesh light bulbs, so I can have extra lights that turn on by voice command, so when my hands are full or I can't reach something. So that's nice. So that's an improvement. Alexa, lights off. So that's fun. So a little bit more, but yeah, the part I need for the transaxle is way back in that mess underneath the workbench, and I loosened everything up I needed to on it with the little electric torque wrench I have, which is great, but it's going to be a little bit because we got to move stuff, and I've got a bunch of farm stuff to do now. So, oh, this has been a busy year. Well, till later. Have a good one.
So long.